Liverpool 1, Manchester United 2. Giving Ruben Amorim his first back-to-back wins is diabolical. Giving Scamorim his first back-to-back wins on your spot, at your place, at your home is nuts. No cheating at OT, none of the juju, black magic, dark magic, whatever, on your patch, on your time. Can't say I didn't enjoy it, though. Listen, Slot was in press conferences talking about how Arsenal score goals. You'd have loved to be able to score on a corner today. Haven't won a game since September. I would face front, my friend. I would face front, my friend, because Liverpool are definitely going through something. They're definitely going through something. And credit to Manchester United. They got that early goal and really held on to it for a long time and then immediately responded about 5 minutes after the equalizer with the goal from Harry Maguire. I think the game was pretty even. Both teams had chances, but only one team really capitalized and defended well, and that was Manchester United, not Liverpool. So I think that, you really could look at it and say that Manchester United deserved that win for sure. But the first goal that was scored in like the first couple of minutes of the game, to me is a Virgil van Dijk error. It is mostly on him. It is mostly on him. And watching him today, his body language was really poor, I thought. He was very frustrated with Kerkez, and we'll get to Kerkez in just a second. But his outward it was giving, I'm really frustrated, but really I need to focus on myself because I'm really the problem here, because you can't blame Konate for that goal. That was on you, baby. You were out of position. You had, stepped, and then Mbuemo makes the run in behind you, and Konate has to come all the way across to try to cover you because you didn't know where Mbuemo was. How could you miss him? He's got a dump truck the size of Meg the Stallion, and you couldn't find him. It was crazy. But that early goal, I think, really just shook Liverpool. I think they're already kind of shook by just their overall form and all that kind of stuff. And I think that just shooketh them even more. And then throughout the rest of that game, they could have definitely equalized. I think Cody Gakpo was their best player, and we'll get to the chance that he missed later on in the game. But Cody Gakpo was their best player. And I think that says quite a bit, considering Isak was out there and Mohamed Salah was out there. Your biggest summer signing, I would say Isak, because of, all eyes are on Isak because of the whole mess that was made of him moving to Liverpool. Your biggest signing and your best player were also in that front line, and both of them were like Casper the Ghost. Gakpo may have giveth and then taketh away, with missing that header to equalize again after Harry Maguire had scored. But he scored the goal to even get you back into the game and hit the post twice. Salah did nothing in that game. He did absolutely nothing in that game. That was literally a Casper-like performance. And I get that he's missing Trent. I get that things are different, but you still expect somebody like Salah to at least have some impact on that game. Then you move on to Isak. Genuinely, when the commentator said that in the 75th minute that Chiesa was coming on for him, I was like, he's still on the pitch? He's still on the pitch. Really? I was shocked. I was like, I thought he had come off light years ago, like time ago. I thought he had been on, because that's how little impact he had on that game. Genuinely. You had two people in the front line that could not impact the game on Manchester United. You're literally playing against Luke Shaw. You're literally playing against Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire. No offense to those players, but you're literally playing against Slabhead and Luke Shaw. And you made no difference whatsoever. I know Isak had one scuff shot, but really, glass half full for Liverpool. It's, maybe it's a transitional year with all your new signings and you just need them to have time. And, it's hard for the players to learn how to play with each other. And it's just early days with all these new signings. But glass half empty, Slot was working with Klopp's team and did well with Klopp's foundation. And now that he's trying to untie that and to put his own spin on it, that spin is spinning you guys right out of the title race. 3 losses in the Premier League right now. I know if that was Arsenal, they'd be writing our name on tombstone right now. Title race from, August 16th or something like that to October 19th. Liverpool will get the benefit of the doubt because they're Liverpool and people will still believe that when everything clicks and when time passes and everything, they'll come back. But 3 losses already is pretty substantial when you can only really lose maybe 5 games. And we're in October, It was just it's just a lack of quality and cohesion with Liverpool. you know, and some of their signings are looking floppy. One person in particular, I think, is Milo Kerkez. He knows the league, like it's not like he's coming from another league or anything, and he has not hit the ground running at all. Now, Virgil van Dijk was making it very obvious with all his remonstrating and everything that he was very unhappy with Milo Kerkez. And I think as a captain, there's different ways to show and different ways to like kind of deal with players that are not playing at their best. I don't know if all the remonstrating and flopping your hands around and holding your head and shit was actually like the right way to go about it, because Kerkez is already shook as it is. His knees are shaking. He feels like he looks like he's out of his depth. So your captain is next to you, and instead of supporting you, it's constantly like at you. You know what I mean? And so he was definitely kind of a train wreck today, Kerkez, and he really has not hit the ground running. The problem that Liverpool have is they don't have that Simicast anymore. So they have old man Robertson, and then they have Milo Kerkez. Neither one of those options are good, so they don't really have a Soboslai type figure that they can put in that position just to like paper over the cracks. So it's either Andy Robertson becomes Andy Robertson of 5 years ago, or Milo Kerkez pulls his big boy pants up and starts playing like he's playing for a Champions League or a champions team, like he's playing for a winning team. You're no longer at Bournemouth, baby. Everybody's watching you. You need to figure your shit out, literally. So a little bit of a combination there between Virgil van Dijk and Milo Kerkez. I think Virgil van Dijk was frustrated at the team, but maybe that was misplaced because he was actually at fault for the goal. And then every time Milo Kerkez made a mistake, he was, I'm sorry, if that was, I would be looking at him like, it's not like you playing all that good either, what I'm saying? So that was a mess. Now, Liverpool did start to look a little bit better once Chiesa came on and Ekitike. I think that Slot needs to go back to basics. Whoever's playing well, play them. Chiesa is, he had a lot to do with the equalizer. Of course, Liverpool end up losing the game, but that's not on Chiesa, right? Chiesa comes on and he makes a difference. So whenever you need a goal, you need to bring on Chiesa. So not doing that is a flaw. It is a mistake. It is an error, like we said before. He comes on, things happen. You need to play Chiesa. I don't know if he needs to be starting him or just giving him more playing time, but he's one of the only players that he's making a difference. You know what I mean? You can see it. Like things start to change when he comes onto the pitch. I think Ekitike as well, like he's really grown on me. And I think that with consistent game time with the same people, he can be really good. The issue that they have is that they also have this 100 and something million pound decision that they made that they also need to try to figure out how to use him, but he hasn't hit the ground running. So they need to decide what they're going to do with this Ekitike Isak situation. If it were me, I'd be playing Ekitike every single game, and I'd be working for Isak to be ready to go at the second half of the season, because you had something going a little bit in the first part of the season with Ekitike and Gakpo. You had something going there, and Chiesa coming off of the bench. I don't know when Salah or if Salah is going to come into form at any point, but you at least had that working for you. Introducing Isak as a starter at this point is not working. Get rid of it. Let him just come off the bench for now. It's okay. He has a long-term contract with you. He needs to bang, obviously, sooner rather than later. There's pressure on that signing to work, but you actually need to win games, and you were winning games with Ekitike. The only reason why Ekitike should not be starting is if he is suspended and or injured. That is it. That's the only reason why he should not be starting for Liverpool. He is the only player outside of Gakpo and Soboslai and Gravenberch that kind of look like themselves and look like they are making things happen. You have too many players that are out of form or trying to learn how to play football again or whatever. So you need to figure that out. But Slot, he's got too many things going on at once, and then you have the pressure of needing to win. But from an Arsenal perspective, this was great. There's been a lot of talk about Arsenal and the way that we score goals, but ultimately having a good defense and being able to score in different ways and being able to introduce our new players without everything falling apart has been a win for us. And you could see that Liverpool are struggling to do something similar. They really are struggling to keep balls out of the back of their net and also integrate new players in without the foundation of whatever they were doing last season falling apart. Man United, obviously the main story is going to be Liverpool, but Manchester United in the last 2 games or so have looked okay. I think their best signing has been Mbuemo. full stop. He scored that opener. He's a great player. You guys know how I feel about Mbuemo. People were like, "Oh, so do you feel the same way about Mbuemo?" And I'm like, Mbuemo and Manchester United not being good and Mbuemo not having 20 goals in the first week of the season doesn't mean that he's not good. Like, obviously he's good. And I think Amorim made the right decision starting Cunha instead of Sesko. Sesko coming off of the bench later on, he didn't really make that big of a difference, but having Cunha up there dropping in and being like an additional midfielder and being able to get those passes into Mbomo and Amad Diallo was really helping them, especially in that first half. I thought Bruno Fernandes had the perfect Bruno Fernandes type game. And I think he's better when Manchester United at times are like not the better team and he can just get into positions in and around the forward line and ping passes to them into space. I feel like that's his better vibe. When they're trying to become a possession-based team, he's reckless. But in games like today, the passes that he was making into space for different players was really good. And then his assist for Harry Maguire's winning goal was beautiful. It was first time volley just into the right space. And we know how Harry Maguire is on set pieces. He's brilliant. He's one of the best set piece goal scoring defenders that you could find, you know. So all of Amorim's tactics and all of that was really good. His substitutions were good, everything. So he outcoached Slot. He made better decisions than Slot. They were away from home. They were also under a little bit of pressure as well because you can't just beat Sunderland and then turn around and get whacked by your rivals. You need to start taking steps forward with these new players. And I feel like Manchester United could feel like they did that, you know. So obviously you need more than just 1 or 2 games, but you know, it wasn't too long ago where they went to the Etihad and got whooped. You know, so this is a big win for them as well. Now, I did make a video about a week ago saying that I felt like Manchester City might be a bigger threat for the title than Liverpool. I want to know what you guys think a week away from that, because when I said it, it was kind of like an early thing based on, you know, Manchester City had won a game, I think like 1-0 against, who was that? It wasn't like their best performance. I forget who it was. Let me see. Yeah, it was after they beat Brentford 1-0. And I was saying that they're doing the thing that they do where they're not really perfect or at their sparkling best, but they're winning games pretty it's not fancy, but it's unflustered. Very robotic and methodical. And Erling Haaland is scoring goals at a clip that I don't think we've seen from him before. I think this is the best Erling Haaland has ever looked. And to me, Erling Haaland is a title deciding player. If he maintains his fitness, they are definitely in the title race. If he is not fit, they're out of it. I feel like it's that big of a deal for them to have him and him being fit, considering the fact that they don't have a KDB, they don't really have other players that are scoring a good amount of goals besides him. You know, so while he's fit, they are a definite threat. Right now, a bigger threat than Liverpool are for the title. You know, they're 3 points behind us, Arsenal. Their go look at their goal difference. I think ours is 12. I think theirs is 11. They've conceded like 6 goals, but they've scored more goals than Arsenal, which is not that surprising, but you know, it just shows the impact of having Erling Haaland in your team. And they're not at their sparkling best, and they still have players to come in. They're also having players come in and learn, you know, while they're trying to get these points. That's the toughest thing about being a better team that's meant to be winning, is you buy a lot of players and they have to adapt at the same time as needing to win, and you're getting injuries and you're changing things, and it's tough. You know, players are going international break, they're coming back, they're jet lagged, they're not the same as they were before. City have had a big kind of like transition away from like the Gundogan's and the KDBs to new players. So it's all about how a coach, I think, can manage having big players come in for big fees. So there's the outward pressure of them needing to adapt, but then you also need to be winning. And you quite literally, in order to be in the title race, kind of need to not lose more than like 5 games. You need to be winning week in and week out. Liverpool aren't the best defensively. We see that, you know, maybe Arsenal don't have the most fluid attack right now, and there's a lot of set pieces involved in how we're scoring goals. And that City early on, we're dealing with some defensive frailties, and we know if Erling Haaland is not there, they'll struggle. Everybody has little things, but it's about how you deal with them. And I think right now, Pep and Arteta have a better grip on the changes in their team and the need for winning games week in and week out than Slot does. That's pretty much the difference right now on October 19th. You know? So yeah, good day for us, bad day for them, interesting day for the title race, you know? So yeah, I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section. For those of you guys that are like, where's the Arsenal actual like reaction? It's coming. I got in from Barcelona like right as the game like ended. By the time I got through customs, got the dogs and everything, it was later. I rewatched the game. I fell asleep on the game because it was boring. So the reaction will come out tomorrow. And I wanted to know what this result was because I feel like that's more important than what actually happened in the game, if that makes sense. So the reaction is coming. But make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, and get into the comments and let me know what you guys think. And we'll talk on the next one. Bye, guys.